Okay, it's good morning, everybody. It's Cinco de Mayo. It's 9 a.m. We're here at the Central Jury Room of the Ralph H. Walton Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street, Granbury, Texas. May the 5th, 2026. This is a special call meeting of the Hood County Commissioners Court. Call this meeting to order and would ask if Commissioner Andrews would bless us with an invocation.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, Holy God, Lord, we're thankful for the opportunity to come together today to discuss the business of the county. Father, we ask that you would place your hand on these decisions, that you'll guide us and direct us and follow your will, dear Father. We're thankful for this county and the opportunity that we have to serve, Father. We're thankful for your love, your grace, and your mercy. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the pledge to Great Smith, Texas. Honor and
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Eagle, do you mind if I do a quick safety briefing?
Absolutely, don't mind.
All right, thank you. So exits here and in the back. There's an emergency, you have Steve Smith in the back from the Sheriff's Department. He'll call 911. AEDs are located out in the lobby. Steve, will you direct someone to that if they need it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if not that person, but the person that's next to them, if there's a need for a 911 or a AED, please contact Steve. If severe weather, we'll stay in the front. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Business to be discussed and considered for approval today. Number one, consider and take appropriate action to develop a plan to ensure that the Development Department runs efficiently in the absence of the Development Director. I put this on the agenda at the request of Human Resource Director. Do you have any? Can you come to the mic, please? So can you give us an update with where the situation is that you're able to share?
Sure. Currently, our Director of Development is out of the office, and I think he's been out maybe about 2 weeks. So it's come to light that we don't know what to do once he is out of the office for any length of time. So what I'm here for is to ask the court for direction on how you want environmental help. They've volunteered to help out. I'll certainly help out in any way that I can, and the county attorney's office has volunteered to help. But we need some direction on how we need to handle things moving forward, such as emails. People are coming into the office all the time, and at the moment we're either stalling them or sending them to the county attorney's office or trying to help them ourselves. But we just need some direction on what the court wants to do if we're ever met with this situation again in the future. Since it is a one-person office, it does put a bind on things when that person is gone. Even for a few days, it could put a bind on the office if there's something that comes up that's an emergency. So that's why we're here this morning.
Well, so we got, by the way, we do have 2 speakers who have signed up for this. But to tag on to something you just said, Clint, the Development Director position was created, I think right the year before maybe I took office in 2018.
18, I believe so.
Before the Development Director position was created, who did that? Who took on that responsibility?
I believe Road and Bridge Administrator took on a portion, plus we sent some of our work out to a contractor, and then I believe the Director of Development or environmental health took care of another portion of the duties.
Okay, so, okay. All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's let the speaker speak, and then we'll get back to the discussion. First speaker, we have two speakers today on this item. First speaker is Mark Lowry.
Good morning, Mark Lowry, 3712 Lonesome Creek Road, Granbury, Hood County, Texas. Well, we find ourselves in a mess. And if it's not a mess, it'll do till the mess gets here. The first responsibility of this Commissioner's Court is to protect and serve the citizens of this county. We find ourselves now in a very precarious position. In the absence of the judge, and we all wish his speedy recovery, we have a 2-2 court, which is going to probably put a stalemate on a lot of various decisions that have to be made. We also now find that the development director is absent due to some personal reasons, and we wish his speedy recovery also. Regarding that matter, I believe we need to find an interim, somebody. I think this is too important. As was stated, this was back some years ago, and there was various components that operated this department. And in fact, we may have had a contractor, if I understand correctly. But back then, we weren't in the situation we find ourselves today. We're being overrun, in my opinion, by new technology, and this position now is more important than ever before. So two things I'm going to recommend. One, I think this Commissioner's Court has to readdress the moratorium. Not because of data centers and technology advancement into the county, for no other reason than our team isn't ready. We wouldn't, in the military, go into an attack, which I believe we're under, without a complete plan in place and the soldiers to execute that plan. A builder doesn't execute the plan until he has a complete design. He don't get started and then figure out what to do on the way through. So I believe now more than ever we need to pass the moratorium. I ask that you all really search your hearts on whether you think, and minds on whether you think this is a time to move forward when we don't have our team together. I also believe that we need to have a workshop where we bring the commissioners together, we bring the development commission together, and we review all the proposals that are under such scrutiny by the citizens of this county for completeness, accuracy, and if it matches up with the regulations that we're trying to push forward, hopefully in the very near future. I do believe that the development director exceeded his authority, and I think we need to examine that going forward to make sure that a department head doesn't agree to something that the commissioners and the citizens really don't want to go forward in our county. We're in a very critical state now, and I think the citizens have spoken very clearly and loudly and with great resolve that they don't want this technology to come over. I just heard, again, there's 7 or 8 proposals out there. As I stated before, the number one duty I see is this Commissioner's Court up here, and hopefully in January I will sit with you in partnership, is to protect and serve the community and the citizens that we have been elected by. I don't think it's wise counsel to move forward with this shattered Commissioner's Court and with the development director being out. I believe we have to pass a moratorium, slow things down so we get our legs up on our knees. I do believe that you need to find a competent individual that can set in that role, interim role, until the development director can come back. We can't rely on fragmented services from other departments within this county. Thank you.
Speaker number 2 is Ms. Christine Lethbridge.
Commissioner, are you okay if I speak from here?
Go ahead.
So I'm just speaking as the county clerk just want to give you guys a prime example of why this is such a problem. I learned this morning that a woman from Apex Land Survey has been left has left over 25 voicemail messages for Clint, has sent multiple emails to Clint, and obviously has not been able to reach him. Apex Land Survey is trying to start the process to do a replat of the Harwell edition. And obviously, we know that plats and replats have to come through the court, and then once they're approved, they end up getting finalized and filed in my office. So, again, this is just an example of why this is such an important thing that we need to address and come up with a plan. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. So the floor is open to the other commissioners.
I would just say that just sitting in the proximity of where my office is, that right down the road from where the development director is, that there have been people stopping by, asking what do they do with their documents, how do they pay their fees that they've been trying to get processed through the development director's office. I know that there have been delays on many things that have needed to have made steps towards coming to court for public hearings, just the normal process that happens there. And also, some of the things that Mr. Lowry said, I do agree that having a fragmented type of response from different, thank you all for volunteering and trying to close the gap, but at this point and where we are in what's happening in our county, it's a critical time for our county. While in the years past, the things that came before the development director were things relatively small in nature, replats, plats for housing development, some rather large housing developments. But today, we see massive industrial development, power plants, 800 to 2,500 acre data centers and co-located infrastructure. And we also know that there have been, our development regulations have not been interpreted correctly based on what development is. So I think that this needs to be, whether it's temporary until he returns to work, but we need someone who can focus full-time, that has background and expertise in the, come up to speed on our regulations, and also understands the government code related to land. On the other, just to add to that, we also have the Development Commission. So we can rely on those 5 people also to support whoever, whatever situation we happen to have. So that would be my 2 cents at this point.
Can I address the court briefly? Okay. The development director is also our floodplain administrator. My permits say I have 30 days to approve or deny. If I don't say anything, it's automatically approved. These right here, this is the last week of paperwork on septic system applications that are within the floodplain. This is just floodplain questions. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here in a week. Now the clock is ticking. I need guidance on, okay, Do we send it to someone else? I have a person on staff that is a member of the Texas Floodplain Association. They are working on getting their floodplain certification. I also am currently taking a floodplain class. I have been taking different floodplain classes. I am not certified. The prior floodplain administrator went 8 years working for Hood County before they did become certified. Not Clint, the prior one. This was submitted to my office on the 27th of April. It's a replat. 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 And these are just the ones I brought. This is in the last week. I know there's certain ones that have been submitted to the county attorney's office as replats. That's the reason part of this was requested. I know there are subdivisions in Hood County now, if you're going to put 2 lots in one. My rules say that you can use an affidavit to the public. The subdivisions are saying no. They want a replat. They want both those lots brought into one lot. And it will be good, but it's going to increase paperwork.
Good morning. Just wanted to make sure, because I can kind of see the direction that we're thinking about taking. There is no budget in that line, so we are going to have to figure out where the money would come from. And I don't know if those discussions have been made with Matlock or not. Just keep that in mind before you go forward.
Would you mind asking her if she would come over?
Sure.
Okay, I have one more thing. Hood County has development software. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. We have OpenGov. I spoke to the IT director briefly. We could bring that software online and have everything inputted into OpenGov.
Oh, it's not.
OpenGov will give each one of the court the ability to look at what has been submitted. There are ways that it can allow outside access, I believe, and I'm going to speak with the IT director. We're going to go over some of this. I believe it would be a way that we could allow the Development Commission, somebody would have to be in charge of, for lack of a better term, checking boxes in this system. That would-
closer to the mic, will you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That would allow each of y'all to view what development is seeking. It would give people each of y'all the opportunity to know. It will give me, it will give RODOX, the fire marshal, everyone the ability to view this, make comments, and you can limit who can see the comments. It could be broadened where I believe, and don't quote me on this, that the Development Commission would be able to, it would give us a way to allow them to view it in a timely manner, where we're not struggling to get the paperwork to them for the Development Commission to review. We have software.
So that's not currently being used?
It's not currently being used, no ma'am.
How long have you had that software?
I know roughly a year.
Okay, back up. How did we end up with that software? If we've had it for a year?
The prior IT department was working on this software. At one point in time, we were looking for software that would both be able, my department and development would be able to utilize it. It would allow for online submittals. And I think during the transition of all of this, it kind of, whatever, slipped through the cracks. software they eventually chose was the OpenGov. It is not environmental health friendly. There's no way to merge my 25,000 permits into this. So there was another software that might have allowed that, but we never completed that one, and they went with this one.
So OpenGov was purchased for the development department, but it was never implemented by the development department.
No, yeah, I don't think it ever got through all of the
Mike?
finals.
Thank you.
Where did the decision to go with that software, where was that decision made? Do you know?
Now that I don't know.
I can remember seeing a demo of it. I think you showed me the demo of it months ago.
But make sure I understand, that your part of it, environmental, you figured out that it's really not gonna be workable for your department.
Yes, sir.
And you don't know how workable or not workable it would be for development because nobody's tried to work with it.
We sat in demos on it, and it has, when I worked for the city had a software, something similar, not this software. I think the city currently uses OpenGov today, this same software. And when it started at the planning, the plans were submitted, someone in department had the ability to send it to the people on staff that look at all of this.
Now you're helping me remember what you showed me months ago. It's a workflow management tool that will process paperwork. You set up the workflow and tell it what stop points it has to go to, what checkpoints it has to go to, and then those people are responsible for reviewing it and signing off, and then it flows through the system.
Yes, it continues the flow.
I want to say it's been a couple of years that they've been working on that.
Okay, well, I don't know if this is, it's good information to have it, and it's, whatever decision is made, that whoever needs to look at that software to help make sure that the visibility is there, but I think we just need to get back to the issue here.
Well, with all due respect, I think that flows, that's part of the issue. Mr. Andrews, you got a comment?
Well, I've done a little bit of talking to people. This is, when everything falls to one person, this is kind of problematic. One of the things that I had asked is there a way to do like a mutual aid with another county? I know that Somerville, like with the floodplain, I don't know that we could do that with development again. We are the only county in Texas that has subchapter K. And it's unique from the other subchapters under 231. So it's not even like we could go to those other counties and say, what do you have in place with these things? So I know that I reached out to Erath County, and they used a third-party engineer consultant to do their development. That would have to be somebody that would be brought up on our regulations, because they are different than Erath County's regulations significantly. So if we were in a situation like most other counties, see Somerville and Erath, I don't think they'd have a problem with each other because they're all under the same rules pretty much. The floodplain is a different deal, very specific, and I think it would be good if we had a couple of people on staff with that certification, kind of as a backup. But in the absence of that, I don't know, is this something that we might be able to reach out to Somerville County?
This is a copy of our floodplain damage prevention order that is It was adopted in, I'm working on it, Commissioner. This was adopted by let me look at the back, I'm sorry. This was adopted by the county judge, who is legally the floodplain administrator. The county judge has the right to appoint somebody, but at the end of the day, it falls back on the county judge. And this order was signed 10/27 of 2020.
Is floodplain administration is kind of a national thing, right? That's done like FEMA guidelines on that? Am I
Yes.
correct in that?
Yes.
So is it going to, unlike subchapter K, which may vary from our regulations to Erath County, is the floodplain stuff going to basically be the same everywhere?
Yes. Well, other than if there's anything extra in this document that the county adopted. Most everything in our county would go off of a flood protection elevation, which is basically 2 foot above the base flood elevation. And that's basically what this is.
Is that what's in the order, basically, is
Yes.
that potential difference? Is doing a mutual aid with somebody else to say, hey, Somerville, if we need help on this one, to set up a mutual aid contract, some kind of interlocal, and say, you know, in a situation similar to this, we could reach out to them for help. Indemnify their administrator, I'm not sure how we would do that, because that would be kind of a weird crossover in that, but is this an option? I mean, I don't know, it would take us some time to get that set up, and I don't know that doesn't get us through the next 3 or 4 weeks if we did get something set up.
I mean, I did not get the chance to reach out. Brian Jones of Somerville County is their floodplain administrator. I believe he's also the fire marshal, and he is the current designated representative that handles septic in Somerville County also. So he has, 3 hats. We go in spurts of having floodplain stuff come up. I do know we have several that, in my opinion, I would recommend they went to an engineer firm for review. There is a RV park that has been working through the steps of development. They have, because in a lot of the development, I may be the one reviewing the septic application or requesting it be sent to the state for review. I may be requiring they come up with documents for a public water supply. Have you reached out to Upper Trinity on your well? Those type questions that before we even start development, they are months in their planning already. And there are several that the county attorney has reached out to that, at my request, to guide them on some of this. But in the instance of an RV park, I would definitely recommend something like that went to an engineer for review on the development side in the absence of.
I do have a contact, I know, I reached out to Erath County and asked them what they did, and they used a third-party engineer, Jeff.
And that was what Melissa had, said, well, can we reach out? Some of these are bad floodplain, and some of them, they may not be so bad. I've been a tad overwhelmed with all of the replats and development questions that I've asked that I really haven't looked over some of these as far as how bad the floodplain is on them. But our normal stance is we send an email to development and wait for a response, and we haven't had that ability on these. I can give conditional approval that the septic is approved, but it cannot be final contingent to the floodplain being addressed in the correct manner.
Well, and we have Barrett Hampton Brown and Finley Horn.
We don't have their necessary. They're not.
They're our primary for third-party engineering reviews. I'm pretty sure.
Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, is that what we do in the interim, is send it to them? We have at least two of those, that way if one of them is the primary engineer on that project, send it to the other. Matt, do you have any thoughts on any of this? You're kind of in the middle of this thing, you're steeped in this a little bit. So you probably got a little better perspective on this. That's for sure.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is just the uncertainty of how long is this going to go? I mean, is Clint going to be back next week? Is he going to never be back? I mean, how long? I don't know. None of us know that. We've been trying to figure it out. I know a lot of people, when they think development these days, they think of the giant stuff, but I mean, I'm just dealing with how do you combine 3 lots into 2 lots, and how do you go through the postings in the newspaper, and just mundane things is we're trying to figure out too. And so we're, looking up the statutes, and I was working on that just yesterday, how many times does it need to run in the newspaper before you can do a replat and all that kind of stuff. So just learning those things. I mean, we're trying to help out, but I think our office can help with those kinds of things, like, okay, what does the law say you have to do, and the legal things. But then Jeannie sent me some stuff, I think it was the RV park deal, and it's not my world. I mean, you're talking about the placement of the septics and the drainage and the wells and the this and that. I mean, that's not my experience in training, to read through that and figure out what we need to do and how to make sure we're all safe and they've followed the regs and all that stuff. I mean, that's not where I've been coming from. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I mean, if you get an engineering firm to do this, that would be helpful if there's somebody who really knows and that's their world.
And again, thank you, everyone who's pitching in, trying to help through this, but I think that your point is really good, that this isn't your wheelhouse. And you need, whether it's the regular mundane things, we owe it to the developers or the landowners or whoever who is requesting action to be done to do that, or it's the really large things that we need to make sure that we're doing correctly on those too. So thank you for jumping in.
And I guess one more thing while I'm up here, I'd like for y'all to sort out, is there somebody who's able to read his emails and maybe even not just go back for the last 2 weeks, but maybe the last 2 months, and just figure out was there anything that wasn't answered?
That's been addressed and Jeannie will have access to Clint's email file by the time we get out of here.
Okay.
Well, I think that needs to be, with all due respect, I think that needs to be a decision on how we go forward. I just asked Steve to come back over to
Right.
answer questions
Okay.
on forwarding phones and emails, but.
Right. Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure that was taken care of, and there may be a lot to plow through.
Yes, I think that as some things have progressed, I've discovered that there were emails that were sent to Clint as far back as March 19th, or maybe even further, that have not been addressed, so.
This paper that I have in my hand has a date of 12/19 of 2025. And this is on a replat, so I'm just saying, and I'm, Ports of Call, Comanche Cove Drive.
Right.
This is that replat, the three lots into 2 lot situation. But this is just a letter from the HOA, but this has been sitting out there in limbo, and I don't know how this was stumbled upon. I know Paul Ward has been in touch with,
We-
because
we
Matt,
did-
Matt,
right.
but I don't have the emails to see when this was initially received. I know it was kicked back to have comments updated and addressed, and those comments were addressed. I'm unaware of the time of that because I don't have access to those emails. But I know this lady is upset because
Did you say December 2025?
this is dated 12/19 of 2025. So I don't know, and I know that the paperwork may not have been turned in until February. But they were getting, the HOA was okay with this. That's one of the requests. Is the HOA okay? Can the water company provide the water? All of those are things that we have to have, that we start when they come and say, we'd like to do a replat. Those are items that have to be addressed. So this, they may not have turned this back in until March. So, and with everything that's been going on, missing an email right now is easy. So there are things that we need to find out, how long have we been dealing with this? I believe y'all have been working through it with Mr. Ward.
We've reached out, yes, so, and we got a couple others.
Hey, all your microphones are dead.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, those are the-
The system went through a reboot while we were
Oh.
sitting here. That might have been the interruption. Spontaneous.
Is your lights on or is that?
Well, there's no light.
It's on automatically. Just tap
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Is there some level of comfort that you have with addressing some of these, replats or whatever? A lot of times that's just combining 2 lots.
Right.
And, are you okay with, once we figure out the schedule for public notice or whatever and have a public hearing and everything, are you okay handling some of those and then making a decision which ones need to go for outside review, or would you rather not be in that?
Well, I'd rather not. I mean, it's still, there still could be things that I just don't know what to look for. Does it implicate some septic system issue that I, wasn't aware of, that kind of thing. Obviously, Jeannie can jump in on that better than I can, but, I hate to screw something up to not being in my usual area of practice.
You also have litigation and things that you're working on. So
Right, and just as a reminder, not really for y'all, but for everybody, my main job, I'm a prosecutor. I have criminal workload, I'm in criminal court. That's our main job, is to prosecute misdemeanors and juvenile cases. So, yeah, that's what I do most of the time.
Christine, what's your opinion on how the Development Commission could help fill in here, since they were appointed in December and have been, I know you've met regularly, I think they've all come up to speed pretty well on the regulations. What's your opinion?
Well, I think we would all be willing to step in and fill this role and get familiar with, statutes on the replats and things like that. And we could definitely, our regular meetings are the 3rd Thursday of the month, but I think we could definitely meet more often and, step in and fill this do have, you know, we talked about having a citizen advisory council because we have such a lot of very expertise in the county in a lot of different areas. So I think it's an opportunity for us to see how well that would work. The Development Commission and our advisory council and looking at those projects that are coming in.
I'm concerned that there's a level of expertise here. We just need to go get a third-party engineer to overlook these things. And I guess if we already have them in place with Barrett Hampton Brown and Kim Horn and maybe even a third one, I guess that might be a question for Glenn.
Purchasing should be able to answer
Yeah,
that.
Kimley Horn, Steve Ron Perkins, and Barrett Hampton Brown are.
Okay, all right, so we can do that first.
There seems like there was one more that we don't have on here that maybe should be, I can't remember there. Go look it up.
Not sure. So I guess the question becomes, how do we pay for that?
There's a budget for contract services. The total amount in the fund right now is $25,704.75.
Bring the mic forward, please.
You can use contract services under the development budget. The available balance is $25,704.75. Right.
I think we have things pending that have to be
Yeah.
dealt with immediately. So I think that's,
We might need to revisit the, I was probably not call it engagement letter, but their contract, because there's one project that I've been, in the absence of the development director, directly communicated with Kimley Horn, and they're saying it's not part of what they were contracted to do. So we may need to look at, to redefine, because this is different than what we had asked them to do in the past. So we would need to probably have a different engagement letter or scope of work, that's probably the right word, scope of work for this. And that's going to take a while to draft, a while to bring back to court for us to vote. So in the meantime, we need a short-term solution. We already have, so I'll just say this, we have the Development Commission in place. I think they're willing to step in. Jeannie's willing to step in while we work through the scope of work with an engineering firm, whether it's Kimley Horn or a different one, to step in. But I think that I agree with you, Commissioner Andrews, that this is very critical to the landowners and the county and the citizens to make sure we get this right. So I would agree that we need someone that this is their main focus and their main job, and they know the development regulations, they know the governing code, to make sure that we do the right thing. But that's going to take a little bit of time. Probably, I guess there could be a special call meeting, but it's at least going to be after this 12th. So I think that in the short term, we need to make a decision on what we do today until that can get put in place.
Well, if we already have 3 potential firms that we already have some sort of a contractual agreement with, couldn't I just, or maybe not me, Jeannie, whoever, just, we get something in, we just say, hey, so-and-so, can you review this? Can you, without having to put it on future agendas and all that, just can you review this and give feedback so that we can move forward?
That's the exact question I asked Kimley Horn, and they said no.
Well, okay, we got 2 others I'm hearing. You know, there's Barrett Hampton and Brown, and then there's the TMP. And what, I mean, it may be a thing with Kimley Horn that it was, they didn't do that kind of work on that particular question, but on maybe this replat question or some other deal, they could. I don't know.
yeah, and I just got a text from Glenn that said Kimley Horn, Teagnall, Perkins, Barrett Hampton Brown, and Topographic are contracted for plan review.
Okay, so we got 4 options. So, I mean, just for efficiency, me or Jeannie, we get something in and we just, okay, you're number one on the list this time and maybe you'll be number two next time, whatever, and I'll just start hitting those people and just say, can you review this and turn this around?
How do you feel about any potential conflicts of any of those particular names that you mentioned being the contract developer for development? Is that a conflict or not, or how do we handle that?
I think you just go to a different engineer.
So in other words-
If it's Barrett Hanger Brown submitted
Yeah,
this.
because we are,
Right.
I guess the realm of firms that do this in this area are probably those five.
Small, right?
So as developments come in, they are also using some of those firms, so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess like Kevin said, the best solution is just have somebody else review it, and that's maybe all we can do for now.
So I think that there needs to be something put in place because I think that our scope of work is not broad enough for this, apparently, from the feedback I got from Kimberly Horn, but I haven't asked TNP or what was the other one, Topographic.
Bear Hampton,
Bear Hampton.
right.
Commissioner Eagle, may you allow me to address you again? Thank you for your allowing me to speak one more, because there's a lot of things that came up that hopefully someday I'll have to be involved in. I have a couple of questions. Jeannie, how long did it take you guys to get certified for the floodplain certification? How long, you said you're not certified, but how long does that take to get certified?
Basically, there's no class scheduled at this time for you to take a class. I mean, there are online classes you can take, but they do not have any other classes right now. There are certain study guides you can take. It could be anywhere from 6 months to a year on that.
Okay. My thought would be, maybe take the floodplain stuff off of the development director's desk if you get certified timely. Question I have is, how much did that software cost? Anybody know?
OpenGov, do you remember, was that in?
And the
You
other,
can probably look up the invoice pretty quickly.
yeah. So the other question, ma'am, I have of the auditor, if I may. We just get $135,000 from FLOG. Apparently, we're going to get that back.
That's a
in
grant.
discussion, 126.
That's a grant, so that can't be used.
It has to be used in the parameters of public safety vehicle theft
Okay.
reduction.
Okay.
It's the umbrella.
There's a lot of inside baseball I don't
Yeah.
understand yet, but
Well, let's be clear about his question. The question is the money that the county paid to Flock? Yes.
which is a contract service.
Yeah, that they're refunding. Is that or potentially refunding, that's still being discussed between our county attorney and Flock, but
Wouldn't that have to be put in the line item transfer?
That was paid out of Fund 55, so
We got paid.
it's up to the court to spend that money how they wish. We did not ask for reimbursement from the state under that grant yet because we never had received the items. So yes, essentially you could reallocate that to whatever you wish, whatever project you wish.
So obviously that would be up to the court. I'm not in favor of an interlocal agreement because this is Hood County, and we've got very special needs and ability here, and I think trying to bring in other counties, I'm in favor of potentially an engineer, I'm in favor of some of these experts in the Development Commission. One of the things I would finish with is these directors of offices. My way of organization is, if you're a director and you don't have someone in your staff underneath you that knows what your day-to-day responsibilities are and your duties, it sounds like the director of development was that way. You've got to get somebody, you got to let the court, you got to get somebody trained up, because any day you could walk out and get run over by a bus. And then here we are with the county sitting there with, now what do we do? So I would just plead with the directors, if you don't have someone that understands at least the basics of what you're doing, because we're in a pickle, or as I said earlier, a mess. You know, I think we need to find the money, we need to address this. You know, Commissioner Samuelson, Commissioner Eagle, I think brought this up. This needs to be addressed in an efficient way that's supportive of the county, not piecemeal it. Tagging on to the county attorney, or tagging on to HR. They're busy. I don't think that's the best solution. Thank you. Thank you for your time and patience with me.
Any other comments?
Would it be appropriate at this point to say, let's send it out to third-party engineers? Go ahead and make that motion and use that contract services. And if they come back and say, that's not part of our scope of work, or that's not what we do, then work toward that.
I think we still need to have a point person that everything funnels through, because who's going to send it to the engineer, who's going to track it to make sure it gets back. So Jeannie, I'm thank you for jumping in, but as you said, you've got a stack full of stuff. We have several issues going on in our county that we need to address that are critical to the welfare of the lake, let's just say. So I think we should rely on the Development Commission to be the gatekeeper in sending it out.
Okay, we're just talking, right? So here's my concern about that. And they're not available, you know, we can't expect a bunch of citizens to be available and every time something comes in, for them to call me and get together and look at something. I mean, is that a reasonable thing to do? And is it practical, and can it, you know, I'm just throwing these questions on the table.
Absolutely right.
Because,
I think you're correct. They're volunteers.
You got the public, Open Meetings Act, you got to deal with timeline and everything, and some of these things don't have that kind of a timeline.
I mean, we need something right, we need to figure something out right now on some of this.
Well, is there, can I make a comment? An option to bring looking at the HR person, a contract person on staff for a period of time?
Sure, I think you could. I think your time frame of finding someone that you're going to be able to contract with, and keep in mind, contract labor is just that. They work when they want to work, they set their hours, may not be in the office, and maybe they prefer to work from home, those types of things. That's what contract does. Another thing, talking about our volunteers, TAG legally represents employees. If we were to get ourselves in a bind, possibly agreeing to something or disagreeing with something, I can't say that TAG would represent a volunteer in that fashion.
So I need to go back to the contract. So if we contracted with somebody to, like an outside engineer, a specific person
Okay.
that's available to do whatever it takes to get it done, we couldn't, would that be something covered under TAC? If we contracted with somebody in that?
Well, I think it would depend on who. I mean, if we look at the 4 firms that we already evidently have a contract with, I think it would be fine going through them. But if you were looking at one individual to bring on more or less staff as contract labor, I'd have to visit with TAC about that one. And also, I would think we would ask that person to carry their own liability also. There's some big decisions being made, so.
Okay, well, just for grants, would you check that out?
I certainly will, yes.
Can I
In
ask?
the short term, with Jeannie and Matt, looking at things as we speak right now until we get to that point where we've got, someone else, I think right now the focal point has to be right there with Jeannie and Matt until we get, completely into it.
Go ahead.
How does 232 and the timeline for permits or plans and plats, that time frame come into play with all of this? And that's the reason what.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that us not being on the ball is a out for missing deadlines and things like that, right? So, my only question that just kind of occurred to me, and this is kind of an HR question, I guess, but we have temp clerks, right?
Correct.
What if we just brought in a temp clerk to read the emails, call the people back, and funnel these things to where they need to go to, and we're paying that person barely anything, I don't know, $12 an hour or something, just for some temp job that they're already kind of on the hook to do temp jobs for clerical work anyway. But that way, that person is doing all the emails, all the phone calls, coordinating all that stuff, and they don't have to be an expert in any of the stuff. They just have to know how to answer a phone call and send an email and be the point person for the engineering firm that gets it. I don't think that would cost a lot of money, and it might be very helpful.
We can do that, why not have a temp person that can have more of an engineering background to
Well,
to do more than, because what I'm worried about is the timeline and the making sure that those get to the right places. You might need someone with a little more expertise to do that.
well, my only thought is if we did something like what I was saying, and we already have this pool of people that we call upon, I think, I mean, that could be done today, tomorrow. If you're trying to find out somebody to sort of be an interim development director, now you're probably posting it, and you're having this meeting, then maybe they give a 2 weeks notice, I don't know, and then they start working, and then by that time, Clint comes back and says, hey, I want to work. I mean, the timeline of that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but just that clerical person to funnel all the paperwork and the phone calls and the emails and stuff, just for today and next week and that kind of thing might do some help.
If I can find someone. I mean, we do have a list, but sometimes,
Okay.
Most are designated. for
yeah,
their
they're not.
areas.
Okay, well, I don't know, it's just a thought that just occurred to me, so
Sure.
maybe it would work, maybe not.
But I do think that we still need one person overseeing that person, making sure, are you willing to do that, or should that be Jeannie?
However you want to do it. I'm about to head to a meeting that I already committed to, but whatever you want, I mean, we'll try to do the best we can, however y'all decide to do it, so that's fine.
So in the meantime, what does it take to forward emails from the development director's account to a designated spot, forward voicemails to a designated spot? What does that-
Super easy. Right now, they're already being redirected to Gene's account. So I can change, I can add, do whatever you need me to do.
And I'm sorry, do you have any background in this software called OpenGov that you looked at?
I have not.
I just wonder, I mean, that sounds like a great tool to help with workflow management, which is what this issue is. At this present time is how do we make sure all of these pieces of paper and things get to where they're supposed to be and get signed by and reviewed by the appropriate people. probably need to look into ensuring that gets implemented.
Okay.
So we have paid for OpenGov in 2024 and 2025, but not in 2026. I'm not sure who was using it. It came out of IT's budget.
Be honest, I think that was something that Owen was
That what?
running. Owen.
But it still has to be approved by the court.
It was supposedly live in 2024 with meetings. Just a tad bit of whatever in early 2025.
Oh, we either need to use it or cancel the contract, that's what I'll say.
I think it's canceled currently because we haven't paid it in 2026. So we'll look into it a little bit further. I have heard great things about OpenGov, but I don't know anybody. I know the cities and some other counties use OpenGov successfully, but I don't know if it works with us directly or if there's,
Well, it's not gonna solve this problem right this minute.
yeah, it takes time to implement new processes.
So at this, it's 10:03, I'm gonna suggest, or I'm gonna adjourn, I'm gonna call this meeting to be adjourned into executive session under Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074, and we'll adjourn for a few minutes, come back out. We're going into executive session. 10:59, coming out of executive session, no action was taken. So we've had 2 people sign up to speak after the agenda item is called. But we allow somebody to speak. This is not a workshop, but I've allowed a person to come up. So I'm gonna go ahead with the court's indulgence. This time, allow these 2 speakers, but from now on, once the agenda item is called, it's over with to sign up unless we're in a workshop, okay? We have to move these meetings along. But since I allowed Mr. Lowry to come up, I'm going to go ahead and call Jim Bell. Jim, do you still have something you want to say?
Yes.
Make it quick, please.
Thank you for this. Section, Local Government Code, Section 232, mandates that responses have to be issued within 30 days of when a concept plan or something like that is put forth, or its automatic approval. That can be abused. The development director, it's come to light that the development director has no staff. It's just that office. So when a situation like this comes about, and when he can't make it for whatever reason, or even if he goes on vacation, there's no staff there to manage that stuff. And if a development director wished to, could circumvent this commissioner's court by simply waiting longer than 30 days or ignoring a concept plan, and it can automatically be approved. And I think that creating some kind of redundancy, maybe having an office manager in the development director's office or something like that to deal with things like that. It strikes me that there's already one lawsuit out there where a response came 31 days after the plan was submitted, and now there's a lawsuit claiming that it should have been automatically approved based on that. So I think that in view of all that, there should be an office staff, a clerk or a office manager or something like that to enable the development director's office to continue to function through normal happenstances such as taking a vacation or a hospital stay. Someone goes under gets an operation or something like that, and to prevent something like this, because this is governed by state statute. This is not something you can change. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, sir. The last speaker is Ms. Lana Robinson. Do you still want to throw in your 2 cents?
I would. Thank
Come
you.
on up.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. I apologize. There was no table up there to sign up on, and I didn't realize that they were in a seat. So that's the reason I was a little delayed. There's been quite a bit of comments this morning about when the development director returns, if he's going to return, those kind of comments. And I just want to make this court aware of what he posted on Facebook that might indicate he does not plan to return. I would not if I had posted this. May I read it, please? It's from Clint Head. It says, in Hood, and this was posted yesterday. It says, in Hood County, it's an insult to the precinct 2 commissioner and the voters of that precinct. In Hood County, the voting outcome may have followed the intended plan, but what was not anticipated was that these votes stemmed from a populace that often behaves like sheep. That's me. Unaware and easily influenced by social media narratives controlled by billionaires. The filtering of opinions through these platforms has led to a political climate that is highly toxic. As a result, highly qualified individuals are deterred from running for office, leaving a vacuum filled by subpar candidates. This trend has drawn strong comparisons to figures like Joe Biden, as voters have inadvertently elected the most incompetent commissioner in the history of Hood County. And you know who he's speaking of right now. This individual lacks both experience and expertise, leading to a situation where the county suffers financially due to ignorance and mismanagement while trying to micromanage, which goes against that commissioner's constitutional duties. He thinks he knows her job better than she does. The consequences are severe, as this commissioner consumes more resources than all departments combined, ultimately jeopardizing the well-being of Hood County citizens. I just feel like that was a hit-and-run piece, and I have my doubts that Mr. Head will be returning, but I could be wrong. But I urge this court to reprimand him for this. I don't think it was appropriate that he should have posted that comment. And when I looked earlier, it was going, and I don't know if someone already has, but thank you for letting me speak.
I have a screenshot of it. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so getting back to this agenda item, the agenda item reads, consider and take appropriate action to develop a plan to ensure that the development department runs efficiently in the absence of the development director. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I have a move to request the IT director route emails and phone messages to a newly established group, name it what you think is appropriate, that will auto-forward to Melissa Welborn and HR, members of the Commissioners Court, and other appropriate people to be defined and coordinated through Ms. Welborn.
Second.
Did you get that, Steve? Yes, sir. So we have a motion, as she stated. Would you repeat that?
Yes, so request the IT director to create a group for email and phone messages that will auto-forward to Melissa Welborn in HR, members of the Commissioners Court, and other appropriate people to be defined and coordinated with Ms. Welborn.
So we have that motion made by Commissioner Samuelson, seconded by Commissioner Wilson.
Can I,
Is
are we going to make part of this to go ahead and send these out for review? Does that need to be addressed in this, or another motion to this item, or?
Well, I think that the other appropriate people as coordinated through Melissa would cover sending it to the engineering firms or through the law firm.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
and
all right,
we'll all
then.
just communicate with each other and get those passed on so we're not getting close to the end of the deadline.
Okay. With those reviews coming out of contract services or whatever developed?
Yes, so we already have contracts with engineering firms and a law firm that specializes in land use. So I think she's covered as far as sending out reviews to either engineering firms or the law firm.
Excuse me. So we have contracts with those 4 firms. I know we have a professional services agreement with Teaton Allen Perkins that I believe is still active. The other ones would most likely want to draft a professional service agreement and bring that back to court. So at this point, unless I can find some other ones, Teaton Allen Perkins may be probably the faster choice and the most readily available choice.
Well, we're trying to keep that open.
Yeah.
That was the purpose of the motion, to keep it, if that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Read your motion one more time, Commissioner, please.
Request that the IT director set up email group and phone group that will auto forward to Melissa Welborn and HR, members of the Commissioners Court, and other appropriate people to be defined and coordinated through Ms. Welborn. So the other appropriate people includes engineering firm, law firm, our county attorney, environmental, whoever she deems appropriate as far as getting the documents processed.
Okay, so you define the appropriate people. So we got a motion by Commissioner Samuelson, as stated, to take some action. We're just trying to get this work done. Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposition, passes 4-0.
Thank you.
And I will say this before we get to the next item. And I think I can speak for most of the majority of us here. We know we got a problem. I mean, we figured that out. And so that's what we're working on. And I agree that, having one person in development leaves us in this kind of a situation at this moment. But with that said, we also have to be cognizant of the taxpayers, how many people we've got on the payroll. And so this is the age-old dilemma that we have on Commissioners Court that's being tested because of the influx of all the data centers. We're being pushed to the limits right now because of an unusual set of circumstances in the state of Texas right now. And so we're hoping we can work through this as effectively and efficiently as possible. And I know everybody up here would like to see that happen, so we'll go. That's my story, and I'm going to stick to it for right now. Okay. Item number 2, discuss and take appropriate action to appoint 2 commissioners to serve on the Hood Somerville County Sub-Regional Planning Commission. See resolution adopted on February the 10th. And Commissioner, you put this on the agenda.
Yes, so both Hood County and Somerville County have passed resolutions to form this sub-regional planning commission. And I'm just going to go through the Section 2 purpose, just to remind everybody what this is about. Cooperate and coordinate with local government units sharing similar needs to plan for all matters dealing with health, safety, and general welfare of their residents and/or issues facing the jurisdiction and residents of the HSCSRPC. Study, research, and create a plan to deal with future development of communities, areas, and regions, including traffic studies, public utilities, land use, water supply, sanitation facilities, and drainage located within the jurisdiction of the HSCSRPC. Protect and preserve the health, safety, welfare, and economic well-being of the citizens, businesses, and industries of the HSCSRPC. Coordinate all efforts with all federal and state agencies pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 391. So what this allows us to do is have meetings with, for example, the PUC, TCEQ, other state regulatory agencies to attend those meetings and ask questions, get information as far as, or voice concerns and ask for action related to anything health, safety, welfare, and economic well-being of the citizens. So there are already some 391 sub-regional planning commissions around that are dealing with the 765 KV lines. I think Somerville and ERAP, and I don't know if the others have joined. They have sitting on as a executive, I don't know if it's called executive, sorry, it's the wrong word, but on their designated state level person is Shelby Slauson. So that also needs to be done. As far as the next step on getting this done is designating a state level person to help with this commission. But the first step is to appoint two people from Hood County to serve on this regional planning commission. So I obviously am interested in this since I brought this to court and have been working with Somerville County Commissioner Jocelyn on getting this together to help work with some of the issues that we're seeing as far as water, air quality. Now we have some issues with some water quality and water availability. So a lot of that happening in precinct 2. So I'm very interested in it.
So are you volunteering?
I am.
So, the 765 KV line runs partially through your precinct,
It does mine and also precinct 1.
also precinct 1. Is there another commissioner who's considering volunteering for this that might touch and concern his precinct?
I was waiting to see if you were going to volunteer for that.
If you don't want to do it, I'll be happy to do it,
But
but
I thought some legal expertise may be in line there. I'm the same way. I'm perfectly willing to serve here, but if you feel maybe your particular skill set might be better suited to this,
I'll be happy to do it.
All right. With that, I'll move to appoint Commissioner Precinct 2, Commissioner Precinct 4 to serve on the Hood Somerville County Sub-Regional Planning Commission.
second.
So we have a motion to appoint Commissioner for Precinct 2 and Commissioner for Precinct 4 to serve on the Hood Somerville County Sub-Regional Planning Commission pursuant to the resolution we passed back in February, made by Commissioner Samuelson, seconded by Commissioner Andrews. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? No opposition. It passes 4-0. We are hereby adjourned. Thank you.
Good, I'm gonna send you an email, with a form, some more documents. Then I would like to schedule a meeting. But I want you to get a better understanding of what the numbers are here. And it doesn't give you the numbers, it just basically how long I've been here, what your staff is, anything I need to figure like
No.
just general questions.
Sit down for 5 minutes.
Do this, it seems like everything gets in the way. Shared it last Friday.
I need to go get checked out.
See you later.
It's metastasized. And so we can't. So.
Will you send it to me? Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. You know, getting it. A lot of, like today. money's coming
But she's
up.
been watching this video.
I'm aware of it.
She's not working on that radio. Thank you.
Okay.
I think you'll find that they listen a lot. They like some speculation.
I'll watch it
But,
later.
Definitely
Okay,
I'm not gonna say